Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Trading Table. This is Andrew, and joined with me is Landon. And today we're going to be going over our weekly outlook and what's some plays to watch for this week, right? Just to give you guys a general grasp of what we're going to be looking at this week and what we have been looking at these past weeks, so you can also learn from that. Looking at the heat map here for the S&P 500, we can see a lot of green, right? Tech didn't really have the best day, right? And there was some outliers in tech, like CRM had a really, really good day. But other than that, relatively neutral here in the tech sector. A few outliers green, a few outliers red, but I'll just call it neutral. Looking at SPY here, we can see that we had a major, major bounce off this support here on Friday, right? For going from here, I've got levels at 529 and 528. So, we can watch those for potentially a bounce, right? If you were watching or you were in our Discord and you noticed this, right? As you can see here on the 1 hour chart, if we go, we've got a very, very key level here at around 518.36. It's had two bounces and, has been acting as a resistance over here as well. So if you guys haven't already, check out our support and resistance video. We go over how we find these levels and whatnot. But these 528 and 529 levels, if we jump out to the 5-minute candles here, we can see it's not as notable as a 518.36 level, but it's definitely something to watch. We do have a few bounces here. This I wouldn't count as a breakthrough. We got a few bounces here, bounces there. So 528, 529. My next key levels above that, I have 534.23. There's some more minor levels in between that, but we'll be going over that later in the week. That's a future problem, right? I do hope SPY does keep going up, though, and I'll tell you guys why in a second. But first, let's check out the VIX, right? The VIX was getting pretty high up there, right? We had a peak of around almost 15, and that's not a lot for the VIX, but for the short term, it was quite a bit. So on Friday, we didn't really have big money bring in anything, right? At least not anything notable enough for us to pick up. So, as we can see here, if the VIX goes up, fear flows into the market. Not a lot of buyers if there's fear. So we're back down to some nice levels now, or some nicer levels. I like this level a lot more, 13 better than 15. So, VIX getting lower, good for us. We got more opportunities to make money and don't have to deal with the BS, right? Looking at the dollar index here, I've been saying gold for a while now. The dollar is getting a little bit weak here. There's a kind of a minor downtrend on the 5-minute. If we take a look at the 1 minute, you can see, kind of more like a downtrend. So we'll be keeping an eye on the dollar here. And remember, guys, gold moves opposite to the dollar. So if the dollar is down, gold will be up and vice versa. Just keep that in mind. Looking at Bitcoin here, for all those that trade Bitcoin miners, Bitcoin's holding the 67,000 level pretty well. We had quite the dip here on Sunday. Nothing too major over the weekend, though. So that's great if you guys are investing in Bitcoin miners such as Riot. Landon loves his Riot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Look up, right? Better times are coming. Bitcoin's making its way back up, as it, always will. Looking at NVIDIA now. NVIDIA's been kind of a topic of discussion in the market these past few weeks. It had a all-time high on the 30th here at around 11.58, which is just insane, right? But, what goes up must come down. It's not going to rise forever. And if it did, that would be very bad. Like I always say, pullbacks are good for the market. So we pulled back down to the 1100 level. We even had a low of 1069 on Friday. So let's just keep watching NVIDIA, because if NVIDIA moves, market moves, right? SPY kind of follows NVIDIA. So let's keep an eye on that. But looking at our previous big money plays, I just want to go over it real quick. I want you guys to remember, stick to your plan. Not every play we call will work out. But if you're willing to stick to your plan, then you'll be fine. So for those of you that are following our KWeb play, right, you'll see that the contracts are down right now, right? I have my stop loss set to 25%, but with SPY coming back up, I'm very confident that KWeb will come back up, because as SPY comes back up, BABA will kind of follow. Now, they aren't very correlated very heavily, but if the market is doing good in general, stocks like BABA will, rebound, right? And if we take a look at the month chart here, and we go out to, Baba's recent high of 90, right? That was the 17th of May, right? If we go to SPY here and go to the 17th of May, we can see that SPY was relatively high at around 529, and it kept going up, right? So it's not very heavily correlated. As you can see, there wasn't like a huge peak here. It's not like Nvidia or anything, but if the market is doing good, then Baba will be doing pretty decent. All right, so I'm very confident that we'll see a rise back up here, especially since on SPY we had a bounce off this 518 level. So that makes me pretty confident in this KWeb play. So, sometimes you just got to hold through the storm. But you know what? If you have a plan, I want you guys to stick to it. If 20% was your stop loss, you'd already been stopped out. So I'm probably going to set mine to 30 now that SPY is coming back up, just to, give myself a little bit of wiggle room. But, we all have different risk tolerance. So what I do is not what you should do. You should develop your own plan and your own strategy, right? Taking a look at AAL here, this is another one of our plays I just wanted to go over real quick because the news coming in for AAL is actually insane. I'm baffled that it can hold this 1150 level this well with all the news, right? So keep in mind, this is the largest U.S. pension, and they bought PDD, which is a China stock. They own Temu. So, and they sold American Airlines. So they sold an American company for a China stock. That's good for, both of our plays, right? AAL, we have puts. KWeb, we have calls. So they sold American Airlines, right? So this will bring bearishness. And they bought a China stock, which will bring bullishness to China stocks. This article right here is a win-win for us. If this affects the market, great for us, right? Another bad news headline. They're facing strikes, right? So if their employees strike, I'm sure their price target is going to get cut again. Their earnings are going to get adjusted or something along those lines. So I feel like it's only a matter of time before AAL falls out of the sky here. Really, the only thing keeping this up right now is probably buyers who are buying this dip, which in my opinion is not a very good decision, as AAL is just getting barraged with terrible news, right? Landon sent me a TikTok earlier in the week of some AAL employees kicking some African Americans off of a plane, right? Because of their odor. So, AAL just kind of a madhouse over there right now. So, once again, my risk profile is going to be different from everyone else's, right? If you're not willing to hold, then don't, okay? If you're running your stop loss, stick to it. You do not have to follow everything I say or everything Landon says. We're just here to provide you guys with information, and then you guys should make your own decisions based off the information that we give you, right? So jumping over to Landon now for some of our big money plays.
Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, so first I wanted to go ahead and jump to ONON. The last few days, we've seen a lot of chop, and I just wanted to reinforce the idea that I do believe there's a lot of upside potential in the future. Truist Securities analysts, they actually just upgraded the stock from a hold to a buy. So that's really good news for us. That's why I believe post market or after hours right now, ONON's up quite a lot. So yeah, I'm really liking this stock for the future. And then for Uber, I believe we called this play out on the 24th of May, and this play did amazing. Quite frankly, congratulations to everybody that was able to get into this, because initially there was a little bit of a drop, which kind of scared some of the people in our Discord. But in the end, I think 2 days after, we ended up profitable. Congratulations to everybody that was able to get into that. But if you're still in it and you haven't sold, I do recommend holding, because I do see a lot of upside potential for the future as well for Uber. And then moving on to GDX, this stock is just running down. I mean, I don't know. You know what? I would recommend scaling out. I wouldn't recommend just selling all your shares, taking the profit. I would recommend just scaling out, because I mean, this stock has just been dropping. But if you're comfortable with just taking the profit and running, be my guest. And then moving on to my final one is I wanted to talk about Microsoft. Um, I do feel like there's going to be a bounce next week for Microsoft. So I'm really liking Microsoft for the upside next week because the last time Microsoft dropped this much in one day, it bounced to an even higher price. And the only reason Microsoft really dropped was for a few reasons. The first one being basically their AI department kind of got destroyed. You know, there was a lot of people saying that their AI isn't really up to what they say it is, and that it's a few years behind OpenAI, even though Microsoft owns about like 40% of OpenAI. And then another really important fact about Microsoft and why it dropped last Friday is that Microsoft's CEO actually retired. So yeah, um, but yeah, that's all. And back to you, Andrew.
Yeah, CEO retiring is never good news, especially if he drove the company's stock price up as high as he did Microsoft's during his career. So, that can definitely bring some short term bearishness. But as you can see here, Microsoft did have a good bounce, right? Microsoft will always keep its head above water. And if you guys, can make this, connection in your brain here, as you can see, Microsoft dipped down, bounced back up. What did SPY do? The exact same thing. So, you can kind of see what the drivers for the market are. Microsoft is one of them. If you look at the heat map here, the size of the company is relative to its market cap. So, biggest drivers for the market: Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Meta, Amazon, right? And then you have your smaller ones and whatnot. But that's how you can kind of see who the biggest drivers for the market are. And just jumping back to that Uber play real quick, right? Scaling out's always a good option, like Landon said, right? But if you're willing to hold, then hold through it, right? And we won't have the open interest until Monday. But if you guys are willing to join our Discord, we'll get that for you. 9:30 a.m. on Monday on the dot. We'll be on. We'll be here Monday. We're in the voice channel all trading day. We don't leave. We don't get up. We might go eat a little sandwich or whatever, but then we get back to it and keep hammering away at the market. Looking at GDX here, just watch out for GDX. If you guys are still in GDX, definitely watch out. As the dollar gets weaker, it might start to rebound. So just keep an eye on the dollar and remember, stay attent and stay informed because you guys don't want to get left behind. Looking at this week's earnings report, we have Toyota reporting on Tuesday before open. As you can see, we have all our economic events here as well. There's a few Fed meetings this week, but they can affect the market as long as they don't, if they say something crazy, it'll obviously affect the market, but I really doubt it. But we'll keep an eye on it anyway in our Discord, and you guys will be the first to know if, there's a trend to follow here with what they're saying. Lululemon after close, right? This is a nice long-term stock to hold. I do like Lululemon for the long term. So, if earnings come out and it's not that good and Lululemon pulls back, I look for entry, right? But if it goes up, it goes up. Whatever. Just, forget about it and move on. Before open, we have NEO, right? This is another one that I would hold, maybe get a contract for the long term or maybe just pick up some shares, right? Very, very cheap stock price. So we'll see how they do with earnings. But that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the trading table. This has been Andrew and Landon. Please be sure to join our free Discord. Link is in the description for step-by-step plays, education, community, and more. And we'll see you guys tomorrow after market close.